the music. I am live. I am live. I am live. And we are here. It is almost straight up 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And today we are going to be talking to the fabulous Robin Pickens, who designs for Moda. My name is Tisha Copeland. I am at Not Your Mama's Quilt Store in Plano, Texas, and it is about 2 o'clock in the afternoon here, Friday, June 12th. I hope you are here and excited to join us. Before I bring Robin on, go ahead and share this with your friends so they can come over and watch it also. I see people signing on and telling me hi. Let me know you're here and tell us hi right now. We're so excited to have everybody here. Yes, I see Joellen and Gail, Marianne, Melinda. Melinda. Yeah, she's going to be typing and token. No, because she just had surgery yesterday, so she's still happy because she still got the good drugs in her. So she's not feeling no pain right now. Sue, yeah, we're excited to have everybody here. So go ahead and give us lots of thumbs up. Let people know that you are here and you are signing up. And I am going to go and get Robin. Okay, here we go.
You do. You match Robin beautifully.
Hello.
There she is. Hello, Robin. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm awesome. I want to tell you thank you so much for agreeing to do this with us today.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for asking me.
No, we just love your work and we just want to hear all about you and what you've got going on and tell us about your beautiful work that you have and tell us how you got started with Moda.
Well, I got started with Moda a different way than most people do. I was doing some fabrics on spoonflower.com on print on demand, and I was entering the competitions each week, and they had a fabricate competition that Moda was the sponsor of, and it went through various rounds of designing and making a collection, and the theme was botanical sketchbook. So I had entered my design for poppies, which ended up becoming the line Poppy May, and I won the fabricate competition. And so that gave me the opportunity to have that line done by Moda, and then we've continued to keep working together since then. So it was kind of a unique way to start with them.
Yeah, and that wasn't that far ago, was it? That long ago, I mean to say.
Yeah, it was the fall of 2015 that
Yeah.
was announced. And so Poppy May actually came out in the earlier part of like mid-year in 2016. Yeah.
I remember it. We had it. And it was like the first one. And when I saw that, I was like, who is this woman speaking to my heart?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Well, the funny thing is, I think you're the first shop that I had people who were traveling on trips who started sending me photos saying, your fabric is here at the store. This
Yes.
fabric is here. And I kept getting things like, each line from, Not Your Mama's Quilt Shop. And so you guys were on my radar right away. Thank you so much.
Yes. I remember that. And I think it's a friend of your mom's that comes in, if I'm not mistaken, or your mom. I think it's a friend of your mom's.
It's probably a friend of my mom's. Yeah.
Yeah, because she was snapping so many pictures and she was on the phone and she was so excited. And we were excited that she knew you. It was like, ooh, we practically know Robin ourselves now that we know her mom's friend.
There you go. Yes. Well, and my mom has been a quilter for a lot of years. So before I started doing anything in quilting, I've been to a lot of fabric stores and started a fabric stash of my own well before I ever started any quilts because of growing up with her and her quilting. So that was a big influence.
So did you sew and quilt before you became a designer for Moda?
I learned how to do sewing when I was in junior high, but I didn't really do a whole lot of sewing. And then when my mom would come visit me in California, I thought a good activity for us to do together would be taking some classes at one of the quilt shops because she enjoys that so much. So I started to take some classes when she would visit, but they were usually in like improv piecing. One was a strippy quilt that it was a quilt as you go project that made like a smaller quilt. And
Yes.
then I did like a number of improv classes. So I hadn't really followed making a quilt from a pattern before
Hmm.
starting with Moda. I mean, I had done quilting, but it was all improv work, and I hadn't taken a quilt all the way through to completion with like adding a binding on it. So once I actually was working with them, my mom actually helped me put my first binding on. It was a quilt that I wanted to enter in a challenge through the Modern Quilt Guild for QuiltCon, which it didn't place, but I mean, I was really happy because it was the first time I actually finished a quilt.
Right,
And
from beginning to end.
yes, and so then I started the way that I would think to do a quilt. That's when I started thinking, okay, if I needed to explain this to somebody else, how would I do it? And so a lot of my patterns can be more beginner friendly because that's sort of the perspective I started from more. And then,
So,
I've grown as I've, done more.
yeah, so speaking of your patterns, do you design your own patterns?
I do. I do. I try to do about 3 patterns per collection. If I do more, it's a little hard for me to keep up with the flow.
Mhm.
And so I aim for like 3. I try to design so that you can use pre-cuts or yardage, to have a mix of things. And then recently I started taking some of the patterns and uh, some feedback that I got. Some people said, you need to make smaller quilts because they were too large. So I started to do some of them like, and these are just now listed with United Notions and Checkers. But I sized down like Bird Talk so that it's a
Yes.
wall quilt, and the little star shower is now like a little wall quilt one too. And so that's a little easier to, although the pattern still, you learn things, you improve. But yes, each time I do try to do that. And for Abbey Rose, which is probably what you have in store right now, Constance was new. Um, Hopscotch Happy and Town Square Garden, both of these were from earlier lines, and then I
Yes.
improved them and made them a little better. Like Town Square Garden, I changed some of the placement of things so that you could use fat quarters,
Hmm.
and some things that I thought would be a little bit friendlier for most people.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I love your patterns because you always use large blocks on them, large sections in them. And with your big, beautiful flowers, you get to really show it off. And it makes me so sad when I see other designers who have these big, beautiful florals or designs, and then they go and cut those pieces up this big. And it was
Yeah.
like, what's the point? You don't need a big flower if you're going to cut it this big. So I love your patterns, and we gravitate to them often, just switching out the fabrics because they do show off so much of the big, beautiful print, and you get to see the beauty of the print without it getting all chopped up.
Yes, and that is a lot of why I design those that way, is because I want to have a big area to show things. Although
Hmm.
I enjoy cutting them up into smaller pieces too, because then it just becomes about like texture. But I do
Sure.
like to have something that kind of is a focal point, for a hero
Yes.
print. So I
Yes.
do
Yeah.
try to at least include that in at least one of the patterns in the group. I try to let there be some kind of bigger piece. Hmm.
Right. And people like them large like that too. And all your patterns are very approachable also. They're not so hard that it scares a new person that's getting, falls in love with the fabric and is getting ready to try their first quilt, or they're just on their second quilt or something. Yours are very approachable, and I think that's why they're so appealing for us and for my customer, because they're beautiful and they're easy. And then, of course, they've got those gorgeous Robin Pickens fabric in it, that
Oh,
gorgeous stuff in there.
thank you. Thank you. You know what? Even things like a lot of people are intimidated by sewing curves. And so,
Right.
like beanstalk, there's a curve on the leaves, or towards the
Hmm.
sun, there are circles. And, you know, those things really aren't that hard to do. You just have
Right.
to do a couple, like get some scrap fabric, do a couple samples. It's like I did a couple samples. By the third one, you're like, okay, I'm ready to go. And
I
I think
got it.
we kind of convince ourselves that something is a little harder than it is. But I do have to admit, I'm intimidated myself by some of the things I see with like certain angles or
Yes.
more complicated piecing. And so that's one of the reasons why I like doing sew-alongs, is sometimes it pushes me to do a block I might not have done, because, you know, we're all still learning every day.
Right,
Yeah,
right, right. So you live in California?
I do. I do. I'm in the Los Angeles area. Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
nice. So I know you are very active with your blog and with Moda's blockheads
Hmm.
and just working with other designers. And I know you recently joined Ginger Bear.
Uh-huh.
I can't think of her first name off the top of my head. Is it
Stacy Bloomfield.
Stacy? That's it.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that and what's going on with that.
Well, I'm not teaching any classes, you know, with Stacy, but she's doing classes. I have people ask me a lot of times, you know, oh, how do you get going in art licensing? Because doing fabric is a form of art licensing. And I've actually been a broadcast designer for many, many years, where I did television graphics.
Oh,
And then I've been like an art director for television stations and a division of Time Warner. And so when I started, actually, it was taking a class with my mom at a quilt shop, and I was looking at all the fabrics, and I thought, who gets to design fabrics? Because this would be really good to do. Like, I want to do that. And
mhm.
so I started looking into classes and taking classes at Otis School of Art and Design in surface and textile design. And
Oh,
I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts from the University of Michigan from years ago, but it was really good to do these classes with all these projects on, like, how to do repeats and like the rhythm of repeats, and where surface design gets applied to different products. And so
mhm.
I started doing artwork that I was licensing onto products. So I do have artwork that's been on dishware and greeting cards. I still do calendars. So I've done giftware, Christmas ornaments, um, journals, coloring books. So I've done a lot of different kinds of art licensing, and fabric is also art licensing. So people will say, how did you get going? And it's a very complex field in terms of, you know, knowing lots of different things about different product categories, or how to go about showing your work to companies. And at this point, I'm very focused on doing the fabric and the quilts. I kind of feel like this is the area that I found my home the most, and I enjoy this so much. And so
Mhm.
I still do my calendars, and I love doing those, but a lot of my calendar artwork for the Seize the Day calendars also becomes part of my fabric lines. So artwork that I do
Mhm.
on both kind of, you know, crisscrosses. So when people ask me, it's nice for me to have somebody else that I can pass it over to. And Stacy, I met because she's another designer for Moda. And I've gotten to know her through doing Quilt Market. And she is just like this energetic powerhouse.
Mhm.
You know, she
Yes.
is just like, she's amazing, and she has approached so many companies. She knows how to do the proposals for them. She has very diverse lines. She also manufactures products herself, as well as licensing her artwork, and she just does it really well and really successfully. So if somebody's going to learn from someone, I feel like she's a really good person to learn from. And so
That's
we've got a
awesome.
lot of, you know, shared things in our background. And so I feel like I really understand that part of her world that she does as well, because
Mhm.
she does wear a lot of hats, and she does have things in a
Nice.
lot of different product categories. And that's, you know, tricky to do, to be able to jump back and forth between so many different kinds of products.
Right, right. So tell us about your blog then, and working with blockheads and just kind of what goes on there. Tell everybody about that.
Yeah,
Get more followers.
on Facebook, there's a group that's Moda Blockheads, and there are over 40,000 people that are signed up on that Facebook group. So it's quite a large group, and people can, you know, there's no big huge rules like that you have to stay on track, but people post their things that they do each week. So there are 14 designers from Moda, and we each take turns doing a block that is a free pattern that they can go to our blog and get the pattern. And then on Fridays, Moda also posts it to their blog. So there's a resource page at the Moda website, which also has all the patterns. And so when it's Wednesday, I try to blog about the pattern. Sometimes, like when I was getting ready for market, I was a little delayed, but I will do a color study also that goes along with the blocks. So I take the structure of the block, and a lot of people ask me what program I use, and I do use Adobe Illustrator because as a designer, I've used that for many years. So that's the most comfortable thing for me to do. I recreate the block in Illustrator, and then I plug in different colors and I play with it. And the quilt I'm doing is going to be rainbow bands of color for all my blocks. And so I decide, this week I'm doing purple. So I do all my color studies in purple for that week. But it's playing around with, like, what if the colors are light and dark within the block? And so you can see a lot of different variations of how a block looks by changing up your light and dark in it. And so that it's easier for people to find those color studies. If my website, which is robinpickens.com, I do have a page that's just called color studies. So if people want to go to it, it'll take them to the blog post that has that, but it shows an overview of those color studies that I do. And also I just started a page, which is pattern play, where I take an older pattern and I might show it in a new fabric line. So for example, one of the blog posts that I'll be doing this next week is I took my fringe pattern and I mocked it up a couple different ways using Abbey Rose fabrics. So if somebody wants to say, like, what might this quilt look like in Abbey Rose instead of Dandy Annie, there are a couple mock-ups that are just suggestions. And so I'm also doing a page that quickly people can look at, and they could go to those blog posts and see some of the different color variations when I plug it in for new lines. So
how fun.
That's kind of one of the things I'm trying to do to maybe help people visualize, what things can be.
Right.
Sometimes it's easier to visualize it on the computer than to cut up my fabric. And then when I'm cutting the fabric, I'm really, I feel really good about what I'm doing.
I have customers that will come in and they have their fabric that they purchased and they photocopied it, and then they cut it up into the various shapes that they want and build their blocks like that. And I always think that it's so clever, but it's so funny to me because they come in with their envelope of all these cut up pieces of fabric that have been photocopied, and they're designing with it. And I'm like, that's very clever, but man, what a hassle that is.
Oh my gosh, but that's brilliant. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that. I love that.
Yeah, I have quite a few who do that. They'll come in with all their photocopies of their fabric and work it out in the designs that they want. It's fun to watch them when they're doing that. So
that's really fun to see. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. If I have space in a pattern, I try to give people like a little diagram they could color into, that's just outlines, because I think that sometimes just colored pencils, it's easier to figure out your placement of colors. And so sometimes, little things like that help us out. It's good to have those extra tools.
Yes. So is that your sewing room? I had somebody comment on that fabulous room behind you.
This is, and that's why I was like, I'm sorry, I look so far away, but
no, you're fine.
Yes. This is, let me see if I can pick this up here. Yes,
this
is my sewing room, and this is my most recent sewing machine. I have a long arm that I bought, and so I had to do a lot of rearranging in here to get that to fit. And then I have this really huge long sewing table that's underneath the window here. And actually, one of the things I was doing, let me unplug this. I didn't want to run out of, there we go, juice on my phone. I don't know if I can get this over. I don't think so. On the end there, that's Abbey Rose fabric. And so I'm starting to lay it out in this Definite Plus quilt, because I've done that in the thatched fabric in the different colors. And I wanted to try it with a print. So this is that. And so I'm trying this in Abbey Rose in the print.
Yes.
I think it'd be a really good exercise. But yeah, this is my room. I get the sun that beats in, so I have to have some good blinds to put down. But that's my main cutting space. And then I have my computer here and my long arm, and then a lot of, you can see going all around. That's my bolt storage. So I know.
That's a fun place.
It's like my own, personal fabric store, and
Yay!
I know my husband laughs. He's like, you can't get anything more in that room. Like, it's full. So it is. It's pretty full.
Is it in a basement, or you were able to just go into a room?
No, I'm in a room, and in fact, when we looked for this house, I wasn't doing the sewing yet, but I felt like one of the priorities to me was I didn't really care about having a separate living room and dining room, because in our last house, we always used to walk by the living room and dining room all the time without really using them. And my
Right.
office, I was really crowded in. So when we were moving, I said, I don't care about a living room. I want a bigger office. And so
Yeah.
I looked for, we looked for a house that actually could house a bigger working space for me. And at the time I was doing more animation work. So the room has evolved a lot. It's gone through a lot of different layouts and a lot of different organization.
Yeah, it's cool that you're able to have that room in your house, though. My husband gave me a game room I should say gave me. He said, you can use that room and it's small. It's about the size of a bedroom. And oh my gosh, I want to explode out of there so badly. And he's like, nowhere else in the house. It all stays up there. Nowhere else.
Well, I do have to admit that, we'll see, in California, we don't have basements. So there's no basement here. And then our house has a flat roof. So there's also no attic. So it's a 2-car garage, and our cars live in the garage. So there's not a lot of room for stuff out there. But
Right.
I do have, there's like part of a landing in the hallway upstairs that has a shelving unit. And that's got a whole bunch of my patterns before they're bagged. Then once we bag patterns, my daughter who's at college, there are multiple shelving units now in my daughter's room that house the patterns once they've been bagged, and also hold extra bolts. This is not all my bolts of fabric. So my extra bolts of fabric are also up in her room, plus more quilts. And then I've also got some stuff underneath the stairs downstairs. So it's kind of like mushroomed out into the whole house. And yeah, and my husband's been very patient, but I think I have to be careful and try to clean it up, because even, to ship things, like to ship patterns, I need shipping boxes, and, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. I get it.
Yes.
So we love your most recent fabric line that you did, Abby Rose. You can see one of the, here we go.
I see Constance. Yeah.
Yes, we have Constance there. We also have little kits that we made up for people when they buy their, when they buy a kit from us. That's how it comes. Tell us about your inspiration for Abby Rose.
Well, the second line that I did was Blushing Peonies. And I had a lot of people that really liked Blushing Peonies and would say, oh, can, they do a reprint on Blushing Peonies. And so instead of doing a reprint, this actually was meant to be kind of a sister collection to Blushing Peonies, or something that had that same kind of feeling. The cabbage roses have a little bit of that feeling like the big peonies had. And so the coordinates are different and that kind of stuff too. But that was the original inspiration, was to make a sister collection that could go with that. And Blushing Peonies also had some orange, kind of peachy orange in the background of some of them. So also bringing that orange back in. Plus I really wanted to be able to play with the pink and orange combination a little bit more. So that's where it started, was trying to do a sister group to that. Yeah.
I love it. How did you name it? How did you come up with the name for it?
And each group, I try to bring in the flower name somehow, and it doesn't always work.
Sure.
So with that one, I think with Blushing Peonies, it had that blushing color with the kind of peaches and the oranges. And so sometimes too, I like trying to work in a girl's name. And so with Abby Rose, because I think, I had Dear Mom, Poppy May, because the original one, Poppy May, had M-A-E, which was a woman's name. And so sometimes that just feels nice, and it gives the line some personality.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so Abbey Rose just seemed kind of nice. And Jamie at Moda too, she said it kind of reminded her of Abbey Road. So
Yes.
from the
Yeah.
Beatles, you know, so it was almost like a little bit of a play on that. So and
Yeah,
just
I
think
think
that
it's
it's pretty
a
comfortable.
perfect name for it. Lori was handing me something. You know, Lori, who is my partner in crime over here. She's my manager. Hi.
Hi.
Usually, when you see us at market and at
I
QuiltCon,
do.
she's right by my
Yep.
side.
Yep. Absolutely.
I wanted her to show you what I made.
Yeah,
Oh, I want
she
to
wanted
see
to
it.
show you. So this is her pillow. Let me see.
Oh, I love
There we
it.
go.
Using a
There we
5-inch charm pack.
I love that.
Isn't it
Wow.
pretty?
That is
I know
so
it came out
pretty.
so perfect.
And there's the
Yes,
back.
and
Can't
there.
see the back.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
That's great.
Sorry.
It's okay. she's busy running the store for me. We're a little bit crowded right now. Y'all can. I shouldn't say crowded because we only let 4 people in at a time, but we've got 4 people in here, so she's on the front lines for me right now. But she is my right hand person and helps me with everything. So she was thrilled to death also that you were able to join us.
Oh, I'm so glad to be able to chat with you guys. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you. Now we got to see and order your new line that's coming out.
Solana.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, I just thought in case you wanted to see the quilts, actually that's why I can stand up here. So this is actually one of them. It's called Simple Solstice, and this is the smaller size. This is made with a charm pack. And
Oh, that's big for a charm pack.
yes,
I like
well,
it.
this is. I mean, you're seeing the edges of. I took this off the long arm. I actually,
Sure.
because I'm learning, I made a mistake in my long arming, and so I took it off and thought, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and rip it out. Oh, you know, you don't want to rip out long arming, so I'm gonna be piecing another top with this one. But this has a, I don't know if you can see it here. It's got like a white on white with a little, the background
Yes.
is white on white print
Yes.
of sunflower seeds. So yeah, this is the charm pack size, and you're seeing that extra fabric from the batting still. And this is the bigger size. That's the bed size. These are the
Look at those sunflowers, everybody. Look how gorgeous they are.
I know, they're just yummy.
Oh my.
This is like the bed size of Simple Solstice.
Okay.
And so
that is just beautiful.
Thank you. I guess I have it upside down. One of the things I'm really excited about in this group, it's the first time I've done a scenic print. And that's the little, the scenic. It's like a little farmhouse and looking over the landscape in the fields. And this one I haven't quilted yet. This is Fair and Square, which I did in my first group, Puppy May, but I made some changes to it.
Ooh, I like that. So that is so pretty.
I've added this little white inside so I could do colors and then kind of have a little bit of a difference with that. And then this is another one that's backslash. And this uses half yard cuts.
Oh, yes. Yes, I think that's the one that they're showing with the collection.
Oh, I like that.
Yes, I think they're showing all these with the collection. But yeah, and so I did that in like 2 different colorways on that. And I think that's it. Because, so I'm still in because we didn't have market, it feels kind of weird to be still sewing, on things. Oh, I know. The other thing I wanted to show you was,
isn't this fun?
It's also the first time I've had panels.
Yes, the big panels. They are so pretty. And they're just pretty enough just to quilt it like that and hang up.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. This is a Helen.
Yes.
This one I'm going to try doing free motion quilting to bring some more leaves into here and just trace around the flowers and make this a wall quilt. And then this one, I'm going to figure out blocks to go around it so that this can be the center of a bigger quilt.
Oh, nice.
And I haven't figured it out yet, but I'll probably do something that'll use fat quarters for some of the blocks, because if you get the fat quarter bundle from Moda, it actually comes with this light panel in it. The panel's a yard,
Right.
and that yard is then
Okay.
included in it. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, so that would actually give somebody a whole set that they could do that with an internal, panel, and then do blocks around it. So I'm going to be working up something for that.
Yes, very nice. Well, it's a beautiful, beautiful line, and we were so anxious to see it and loved it when Jane is my Moda rep, and she showed it to me yesterday, Wednesday, day before.
Wow, so you just
Oh
saw
my
it.
goodness. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I saw them, and they were beautiful. Of course, I had to order it. I mean, yes.
Good. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you so much.
It's beautiful.
Now, I know some stores do pre-orders. I don't know if you guys do that or not. Yeah, because there's like the lighter blue, the darker blue.
Yep, I got it.
Yep, the green.
Love them.
The peach and the clementine, just so people know it's coming.
Yep, yep, that's exactly. We get to look at that and do all our pre-orders. So it delivers in, is it November?
October.
I think it's October. November, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're on the front line to get it.
Good. Good. Yay, thank you so much for getting it. It's been a really, really happy fabric to sew with, and boy, we can all use that right now. It's been a really, really nice line.
I know. Yeah, we need a little bit of sunshine right now with everything going on. So
we do.
Devastating and sad at the same time. I was going to ask you something else, and it escapes my mind now. Oh, so tell people, you said you still have some, did you say calendars? Where can people buy calendars or some of your other stuff? Because Moda doesn't have them, so I don't carry them, but where can other people buy them?
Well, I will give you a little, I hope it's okay that I'm telling you this as a heads up preview. There will be a tea towel calendar that'll be coming out with Moda. Ooh. So because also last year I did one. This was the one for this year. So Moda is going to be doing another calendar tea towel. This was the 2021. And it'll be a different design. It'll be a different design. So that's going to be, I think, next week. So I'm kind of, I'm spoiling the surprise a little bit, but I think next week they're going to start showing the calendar tea towel. Oh my
goodness. They want 2020 to hurry up and be over.
I know. It's going to be 2021. Yes, exactly. Let me see if I have one of the big ones here. Okay, so Sellers Publishing, I do the Seize the Day line.
Yes.
And I've been working with Sellers for, I think, about 11 years. It's like 10 or 11 years. And that's where I was saying, like, do these look familiar? These are, from Painted Meadow, the cone flowers. Yes. And so I do these, and they all have a, there's an inspirational saying, sorry about the glow there, on stuff. And then I do this box set where you tear it off every single day. And it's like every day there's a new, message on it. This one is actually the best-selling format, is the daily one. And there's a different, quote or thought on it each day. And so, I'm not sure. I think I usually start to get my samples around August or September for the following year. So trying to think what the cover is for next year. It just happened that the cone flowers hit in like the year that I had Sweet Pea and Lily. I also had the sweet peas on the cover of the calendar. And a lot of times there's, been a good correlation of the fabric line kind of hitting at the same time that the calendar does. And that's just been sort of lucky that it's worked out that way. Yeah.
Okay. But is Moda do you know if Moda's going to carry those calendars?
You know what? I have the contact to give from Sellers to the Moda people so that they can, I think, add it into their offerings so that shops can order them if they want to. Mm-hmm.
Great. Yes. And they will be carrying the tea towels?
Yes. And so you should be able to find out about that next week, I think.
Yay! Okay, everybody, y'all hear that? We got all kinds of goody stuff coming from Miss Robin Pickens.
Yes. Yes, there's something else, but I can't tell what it is. But there's another good thing that it should be like showing next week that I'm really excited about. So stay tuned. And, yes, I wish I could tell you.
I know. Well, Robin, I want to thank you so much. I promised I wouldn't keep you very long because I know everybody is busy in their days. And so I'm going to let you go. But thank you so much for joining us and showing us some of your new prints and just telling us how it is that you come up with your designs and your inspiration. And we love you. We think you're a fabulous artist. And anybody says Robin Pickens, and we're all going, what, where, what is it? What did I want? And they're like, you haven't seen it. We don't care. We want it. So we know it's going to be good. So
thank you so much for carrying the fabrics. I really appreciate it. And I just, people go shop at your local quilt shops and,
yes, support local. That's right.
We really appreciate everything you do. And I love being here chatting with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for having us, and go enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Okay.
Bye. How was that, ladies and gentlemen? Was that so much fun? I have met Robin in person, I guess maybe since she first started designing a few years ago for Moda in 2016. And I've met her at Market and at Festival and QuiltCon this last time. She is just as nice in person as you see her today. Fun, talkative, she'll talk to you. She's just really a cool person. And of course her artwork is gorgeous, and I learned a lot today from her. I never thought of it as having to be surface design in how you start learning to design fabric and get it published. Who knew? I didn't know that. That's very cool. So I hope you all enjoyed this, and if you did, give us lots of thumbs up. Say lots of good things for us. If you didn't, let us know that too. And if you have somebody you would like to see me interview, because I don't have anybody set up for next week yet. I'm working on it. But if you all have any suggestions you would like me to consider for interviews, inviting them on here, then send that to me also, because I really like to do this for you all. I want you all to be able to enjoy this. So thank you so much for joining us, everybody. This is Tisha Copeland. I'm Tisha Copeland, and I'm at Not Your Mama's Quilt Store in Plano, Texas. Today is Friday, June 12th, and it's about 2:37, and we're going to let everybody get on with their day. Have a super day and wash your hands. Bye.